Hello everybody, welcome back once again. I have got another Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions video for you here. This time we are speaking about RAMZA specifically. Now, RAMZA changes throughout the course of the game. And at the beginning of the game, he's only got access to Focus, Rush, Stone, Salve, Tailwind, Chant. Actually, yeah, that's right. So it cuts off at Chant. Chant is the last ability. In Chapter 1. His skill set updates to include Steel in Chapter 2 and 3. And then in Chapter 4, he gets Shout, and then you can learn Ultima in Chapter 4 as well. His gear also updates in Chapter 4 so that you can actually equip Knight Swords in his Squire job. He's very unique in that none of the other, non-unique characters behave in that way. Of the characters, I suppose, that we get, right? I suppose you can say Delita kind of evolves in some cases, or in a similar way. But all right, so let's take a look here at the different abilities. So, excuse me, sorry. Focus is a great JP farming skill. It's interesting too. I think RAMZA is the only permanent party member that gets focus. Sorry, only permanent, non-generic party member that gets focus. Basically, all of the other non-generic characters, will not get this ability, which is obnoxious and annoying. But here it increases your physical attack power. I mean, it's fantastic. If you use this enough, you're gonna be hitting pretty hard. Rush, I'm not as big of a fan of. Basically, Focus, Rush, Stone, Salve, these 4 abilities. These are the base Squire commands. So really, my discussions, I suppose if you've seen my Squire video, are going to be similar to this. I'm not a fan of Rush. Stone is pretty lame as well. It's kind of okay at the very, very beginning of the game where you have, everybody's HP is so low that, you might as well throw a rock at the guy, right, at somebody if you've got a chance. But, it's not great. It's actually a pretty terrible ability. Salve, on the other hand, is a little bit better. So this cures Blind, Silence, and Poison. Poison is actually pretty nasty, and I think that's the best component of this skill. It can, poison. The problem with poison in this game is that it takes off like 10% of your maximum HP every time you end your turn, which doesn't sound like much, but it adds up. And then on top of that, your character, once they, in some games, poison will only bring you down to 1 HP, and you'll never be able to die from it. That is not the case with this game. You can die from poison. So, a pretty nasty stats effect that this will actually remove. So that's good. Now, excuse me. Tailwind here boosts an ally speed. I think Tailwind is his best skill in his skill set. You can kind of argue that Shout gets really good later, but this is self only. Whereas Tailwind you can cast on your allies. There is no other ability in this game that you can on demand what's the word I'm trying to think of here? There's no other skills that you can count on to increase your ally speed. There is a Bard song that's able to do that, but it misses half of the time. So Tailwind is just amazing because it never fails, and you will increase an ally speed by 1. Unfortunately, it's not permanent, which is the same with Focus, right? These are not permanent boosts, so they'll wear off after the battle is over. But yeah, Tailwind is amazing. And also, if you've seen any of my other videos, there's a really good chance that you've heard me speak about speed and how important it is. I think to this day that speed is the most important stat in the entire game, because you're able to, if you're able to take actions more frequently than your enemies, you're just going to run circles around them. So highly useful ability. Again, best one in my opinion. Chant is interesting because it sacrifices a little bit of your health to restore the health of an ally. It's actually kind of efficient as well, because so if you restore 100 HP to your allies, it only takes 50 away from RAMZA. So it basically doubles, whatever you lose. And this gets better as you go on. So yeah, really great skill. I like Chant. And then the kind of cool thing on top of that too is like, let's just say that you're trying to heal with just a chemist, right? And you only have potions. Well, you can use Chant, right? Like, let's just say somebody is missing, I don't know, 150 health, right? So you can use RAMZA to restore 100. It'll cost him 50, and then you can restore, 30 with the chemist. And so you're up 200 health, or you're up like 100 health on one ally, but only down 20 at the end of the day with RAMZA. Whereas if you were to just try to restore all that health with a chemist alone, you'd have to throw 3 potions at that target. So just at the end of the day, it's a semi-efficient way to heal. And because it's rolled into this skill set, it's just kind of nice. Next is Steel. Steel is actually really great too. This becomes available in Chapter 2, which is a little bit of a shame. I like to boost up my bravery usually in Chapter 1 or like as early as I can. But I guess if you want to use this, you have to wait until Chapter 2. There's other ways to do it, but you can't count on it as much as Steel. But yeah, so this increases an ally's bravery by 5. This is castable on himself as well. Having a high bravery in this game is incredibly important. There are so many of your reaction abilities in this game that are triggered from your bravery stat. And yeah, it's an amazing stat to have and an amazing ability. Shout, again, this one is only available during Chapter 4. But it's amazing. Increases bravery, speed, physical, and magical attack power with a hardy battle guide. This is self only though, so you unfortunately can't give or use this on anybody else, which is a bit of a shame. But an amazing self buff. Ultima here, I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of Ultima. I just, generally speaking, I don't like casting spells in this game if I can avoid it. And I would rather just use melee attacks with RAMZA, because if you're in Chapter 4 and you've learned Ultima already, there's a good chance that you were able to come across some really good weapons. So I would just rather go with, melee attacks. Now, it is a spell and it is ranged, so at least there's that, but it's also kind of weak as well, The MP is at least, only 10, so, I don't know, that's alright. Counter tackle here, kind of junk. Not a big fan. Again, this is basically just base, Squire stuff. Same with Equip Axes, Beastmaster, Defend. JP boost, on the other hand, amazing. Again, same deal as when we're talking about the base, classes, either Squire or, whatever. I guess Agrius is like Holy Knight, right? They all have these abilities. I think JP boost is a really important ability. This will just vastly make you more efficient when you're trying to gain JP for leveling your job levels up. So very good skill. Defend is kind of junk. Beastmaster is very situational. And then we've got Move +1. Move +1 is okay. If you've got some extra JP to throw around, you might as well pick it up, because the next Move +2 is in the Thief job, so it takes a little bit more work to get there. So yeah, so that is his Squire job. Let's talk though about Chapter 4 and how things change a bit. So in Chapter 4, if you notice here, I've got Knight Swords equipped. That is because RAMZA's equipment options actually change during the final chapter. So that said, once you get to Chapter 4, I think putting him back into the Squire job is the way to go. And why is that? Well, because I love Knight Swords, for one thing. The fact that Chaos Blade is basically the best weapon in the entire game is probably the biggest reason. but also the Excalibur has the haste ability on it. So you either, and in order to equip Knight Swords, you either need to be, again, RAMZA in his Squire job, or a Knight, or a Dark Knight. And the problem with Dark Knight and the regular Knight is they cannot use lighter hats, and they can't use lighter armor. They are stuck using, at least I should say, the Knight has to use heavy armor. Whereas I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and we'll check on this here in a second, but I think at least the Dark Knight might be able to still use the lighter armor, but the Dark Knight still can't use hats. So we'll take a look at that, and that's why actually my recommendations also change depending on what chapter you're in. But again, in chapter 4, I definitely recommend Squire. Again, mostly because I value speed so much, and you can get 2 speed out of your helmet slot by either using the Akasha hat or by using the Thief hat. So, in my opinion, those are the 2 best helmets in the game, again, because I value speed so much. But let's see here. Let's go take a look at what we can do. Obviously, my RAMZA here is invisible, and I'm able to get 2 turns off here because my character is, he is so much faster than the rest of the enemies are. My RAMZA, I basically didn't level him at all, and just kept him at level 1 and used other generic units to basically spill over JP onto him from, you know, like their Squire or, you know, Geomancer, that sort of thing, in order to unlock his Knight early, or sorry, not Knight, Ninja early, and so that I could level right from level 1 as a ninja all the way up to level 99. And that's why my speed is so high. Right? Like if you just level as, let's just say, a monk or a knight, you don't get speed gains in the same way that you get speed gains from the and I should say permanent speed gains from the ninja job. So that is what I did. That is what I prefer to do. Up to you on if you want to, you know, do something like that. But I highly, or I should say, I value speed above all other stats. So any way that I can get it, I you know, almost always will take that option. So anyways, as a Squire in chapter 4, I go metal, obviously metal because that's your base job command, right? But I also take darkness. Darkness is from the Dark Knight, and I take this because this is going to do so much damage to these enemies. Now, you know, I guess I'm only at whatever 448 right now. But, I mean, this is going to one-shot this guy, but it's also going to restore a ton of my health as well. I see the slowdown is still going on here. That's not great. I'm playing on an emulator, and this version of Tactics is has a really slow, well, it's got a slowdown issue. So that looks a little goofy. Normally, I play on a patched ISO, but yeah. So, yeah, that's my opinion here anyway. I love Vanish, by the way. I guess I could talk a little bit also about the abilities that I have equipped. Vanish is obviously a ninja reaction ability. This triggers off of your bravery stat. My RAMZA, because I've put some time into his bravery, he's always at 97 permanently. So, you know, it'll trigger Vanish 97% of the time. Which is, you know, pretty amazing. And then I've got dual wield, and that's obviously why I'm able to equip 2 Knight Swords. And why do I do that? Again, because I want haste, and the Excalibur is able to give me haste. There's a couple of other options that can give you haste permanently, but I prefer this one. And then I like movement +3. Again, this is from Bard, and I just like to be able to get around the battlefield, you know, quickly. And also, I go with the Germinus boots. That adds 1 to move and 1 to jump. This is really questionable if this is actually a good item to be using. But again, I like to move around and move quite far. So let's nuke this next guy down. Yeah, this will one-shot this guy too. So and then we'll be able to move, yeah, way over here, right? Which means that probably nothing is going to be able to get to me. Yeah. So then we just head back over here, We can do like an abyssal, I suppose. Maybe. Let's just see here. Let's see what this does. 7th. Yeah, that's gonna one-shot that guy, and yeah, one-shot both of them. So, lose a little health from that, but you regen it back. That's another great combo with the Chaos Blade, because it's always got that regeneration status on it. So when you end your turn, you're going to get, you know, a certain amount of your health back. I think it's probably 10% of your max. I guess what I should do here is end my turn. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just see here. 57. That's more than 10%. That's more like 15. So, yeah, now we're back at full health. So, again, I love this combo. You know, you've got a lot of utility here in the metal command. Again, focus, tailwind, shout. Although I guess, you know, focus becomes obsolete once you get shout, but and then steel as well, right? To increase. Again, I think steel is an amazing way to increase your allies' bravery as well as your own. So let's take this guy out with crushing blow, which is another amazing ability from the Dark Knight job. You get a little bit, obviously a little bit of range there, but man, the sustainability with Sanguine Sword, or is it Sanguine Sword or is it Sanguine Blade, is just amazing. So, all right, so let's take a look again here. So, you know, not only can he equip these Knight Swords now that it's Chapter 4, but you can also always equip just regular swords, right? Just like the normal Squire can. Now, in the Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Line, you've got the Moonblade is another option to get haste. These were not available in the original version of PlayStation, so that's why I always went with the Chaos Blade Excalibur. And actually, Excalibur for the male knights, that was the only way to get haste permanently on your characters. Again, there was no Moonblade, and also on top of that, there was no Brigand's Gloves. Brigand's Gloves was another item that was added here to the Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions. It is a accessory that everybody can equip. It gives you 1 speed, and it gives you haste. It's amazing. It's one of the best accessories that they added. So that's another option. You know, otherwise it's, you know, you can do like Chaos Blade Durandal, right? Because Durandal is going to give you Protect and Shell. Again, though, Durandal was only added in this version of the game. You know, if you're playing on like the regular PlayStation, you know, if you wanted something like this, you'd have to probably pick one or the other. You could do which one is Protect? I think Protect is Save the Queen, or do I have that wrong? It might be Ragnarok. Let me just see here if I can find him. Oh, Nagrarok, that's close. Where are these at? Oh my god, they're down here so far. Here they are. All right. Ragnarok. Okay, I'm sorry. So yeah, Ragnarok is Shell. That must mean Save the Queen. Yeah, Save the Queen is Protect. So again, up to you. I still prefer to just use the Excalibur for the haste here and get the haste in this slot. But again, you've got options if you're playing, at least on the War of the Lions. Regular PlayStation, you're basically stuck with this setup because it's so good. And again, I prioritize having haste. Basically, you know, it's speed and haste. Like if I can't get those, I'm not happy. Hats. Again, I've already kind of brought this up, but Akasha hat for the Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions version is the best hat in the game, in my opinion. He can also use heavy helmets, though, so if you want a little bit more HP, you could go this route. Again, not my preferred method. I much prefer the hats. Otherwise, you can do the Thief hat. Thief's Cap, if you are really going out of your way, you can get these during Chapter 1 in the Zekless Desert for sure. There may be other spots, but that's where I found these at. So one of the best hats in the game, I would say. Well, I mean, it's the second best in my opinion. I think the Akasha hat beats it out, but this one is amazing. So that's my stance on that. Now, I really like the ninja gear here. This, I mean, unfortunately, it basically does nothing for your HP, but it gives you the 2 speed, and also makes it so that you start out invisible. Now, I like this because you can basically just run up into the enemy lines or back behind everybody, and then go just take something out, right? Like right away. And then normally you'll take a hit, and then as long as you're equipped with the Vanish ability, you'll just go invisible again, right? And you can just keep repeating that. It's cheap and amazing, and I really like it. The problem is there's only so many ninja gears in the game. I think in the original version of PlayStation there was only one. I think in the War of the Lions version here there are 2 of them that you can get a hold of. So keep that in mind. Another good one though is the Mirage Vest here, HP 120, speed +1. So 1 less speed, but way more HP, right? I mean 100 more HP than the Ninja Gear has. This has also got some really good immunities on it, honestly. So sleep, poison, and stone. I don't actually remember how many of these are in the game. It's either 1 or 2 would be my guess. Brave suits here, also a decent option. Re-raise, regen. Although it's a little bit redundant, right? Because I've already got regeneration on the Chaos Blade. But re-raise is really good. So that's another really, really good option. And also RAMZA can use robes. He can use heavy armor. I mean, this guy can do it basically all in his square job. Now, that said, I don't know if this, like, his armor options change. I just don't remember in Chapter 4. But, you know, I guess, you know, honestly, you probably don't really have to worry about it that much, honestly, because once you get to Chapter 4, this is when, a lot of the good stuff becomes available anyway. So, Lordly Robe here is another way to get Protect and Shell, except on your body, right? And then this also gives you the +2 physical attack. So, the Lordly Robe is actually amazing. It also gives him a bunch of MP, which, I don't know, that's questionable whether or not that's that great anyway, because, you know, you're probably not going to be casting, you know, Ultima 8 times in a battle. But hey, maybe you are. Maybe you're casting it a bunch. But yeah, that's my preferred equipment is the lighter stuff. Again, if you feel like you want to go heavier, you can do that, obviously, with, you know, things like the Maximilian and stuff like that. Accessories, again, I like the Germinus boots. It's questionable, though, right, if you really need the extra move and jump, but I like it. Again, I just really like to be able to get or move really, really far. And this actually goes along really well with the speed stat as well. Because if you are, you know, crazy fast, you can run up into enemy range, attack them, probably kill them, end your turn there, take another, you know, action, and then run back the way you came. So, I don't know, really a personal preference, though, but otherwise it's something like Brigand's Gloves, again, if you're playing on War of the Lions, to get that 1 extra speed, and then also you get the haste. And again, then that frees up your Excalibur to do like a Durandal instead. So, I mean, this really is a good... it's nice that you've got options, I suppose, in the... again, only though in the War of the Lions. If you want haste and you're playing on regular PlayStation, you're just stuck, and you have to stick with that Excalibur. So, otherwise, you know, towards the earlier, or I guess like mid game, you can do like Hermes shoes again. You can get a little bit of extra, you know, speed out of that. Generally with RAMZA, I don't do like the Genji glove or like the bracer or anything like that. Just again because I really like to move around the battlefield really quickly and far. Otherwise, you know, invisibility cloak is always kind of interesting as well. This is like, I don't know, is this? I think it's like end of 3rd chapter. I don't think it's all. No, I'm sorry. It probably is in the 4th character. Yeah, I bet that's 4th. I think that's 4th chapter. Now that I think about it, but interesting accessory, kind of, you know, questionable if that's really good on RAMZA. I would prefer to put that on somebody else, like a Mustadio. But we'll get into him a little bit later. But yeah, again, like I said, you've got options for RAMZA. Like he is the. I mean, that's probably his middle name. Now, that said, you know, prior to Chapter 4, I actually think he's better as a Dark Knight. Dark Knight takes a lot of work to get. It does. It is maxed out Knight, maxed out Black Mage, and then level 8 Geomancer, Dragoon, Samurai, Ninja. So again, you really got to put your time in to get it, but boy, does it pay off. I already really talked about his skill set, right? The Darkness skill set, but things start to change up a little bit as well for the Dark Knight. Again, I would still say dual wield. I prefer that. I do Chaos Blade Excalibur. The problem here is when it comes to helmets. You are stuck using heavy helmets, which then makes it so that you can't move around as quickly, right? So my speed's down to 13 in this setup. Though, that said, here, if you notice, we can still wear the lighter armor. So we can get a little bit of speed back, but that helmet is where we lose a bit, and there's no way to do anything about that. As far as accessories, I guess it's probably the same thing, right? I would probably still use Germinus boots here. Again, that's personal preference for me. Otherwise, you do like Durandal, you know, offhand, and then do Brigand's gloves. Again, that's personal preference. It's just, do you want to move a little, or be able to move a little bit farther or not? And same, I mean, honestly though, it's same as well with the armor. You can go, you know, Mirage Vest is a good option to give you at least 1 speed, a little bit of immunities there. Or you can go heavy, or do like Lordly Robe. Now, one kind of, I should also say there's some other really great options as well, like the Power Garb. I should have mentioned that earlier. Power Garb is pretty solid as well. Same with, again, if you're back in the Squire job, you can do Headband, right, and get the extra 2 physical. And why is that? Well, because you are going to be absolutely stomping with that Darkness command. With those kind of setups. So again, you know, you can do kind of some funny things with the Lordly Robe and just really you know, boost up your physical attack stat. The other thing is Dark Knight just innately has a really high physical attack modifier. So you are going to be doing a ton of damage on this class. And, you know, being able to do a good amount of damage and having the Sanguine Sword ability is just nuts. You'll be super sustainable. The other thing that you could do would be, if you wanted to be a little bit more defensive here, you could do like, well, you could do defense boost, or you can do attack boost. You could do Vehemence. Now, Vehemence is kind of like an upgraded version of attack boost, except it nerfs your defensive power as well, so it's really glass cannon type. But you can do some amazing damage with this. In which case, I would say, you know, if you're going to be Dark Knight, again, this is like, if you unlock this early, you can do Dark Knight Chapter 1 through 3, and then I would say go to Squire during Chapter 4. But yeah, this is a great setup as well, you know, Darkness Metal, and then do your, do whatever you want. But you can also do here, again, you can switch it up and keep a shield on him, but then the problem is then you have to do Brigand's gloves because you really want that haste. So again, a lot of this is personal preference type stuff, but my opinion is, again, do Dark Knight Chapter 1 through 3, switch him to Squire in Chapter 4, dual wield him. I always dual wield him, so that, you know, because I've got some specific gear that I like to use. But yeah, that's about it. That is RAMZA. He's going to be with you the entire game. So, give him some Knight Swords and you'll be happy, and teach him how to be a Dark Knight. So, that is all I've got for this one. As always, I hope the guide was helpful and hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.